Hi, I'm Barney. I live on Fulton Avenue in Hallfield, and I'm currently working for a charity running a number of social enterprises working with vulnerable people that are ex-offenders, come out of addiction or with learning disabilities, giving them an opportunity to get back into work. So I've been a Christian most of my life. I grew up in a Christian family, I had Christian parents, I went to church. I actually went to a Christian primary school. But then I kind of drifted from faith as I got into my teens and kind of went off on my own path, thinking I knew better, thinking that I knew what was more fun in life. But then really came back into faith about 4 years ago when life took a real turn for the worst. And I think over the last 4 years it's been about working out, what does faith mean to me? What does my relationship to God look like? What does having Jesus in my day-to-day life look like? And I'd say that now faith for me is a part of every aspect of my life. You wouldn't see a part of my life that doesn't have God in it in one way or another. And I feel for me, to sum it up, the effect that faith has on my life is it's, as my mum would always say, that when I'm close to God, it's always the best version of myself. 4 years ago, I was in a position where life became extremely difficult, and it had been happening over a period of time, but that was every aspect of my life started to crumble around me. So that was work. I was in quite a good paying job, in quite a high level, doing quite well, but that started to tail downwards. I was in a very toxic relationship. I had no faith in my life at all. I was living in a home that probably wasn't the best influence for me, in an area that also wasn't great, and I think the culmination of all of those things created a bit of a breakdown in my life. I had to leave my job, I had to walk away from my relationship, I had to walk out of the house that I was living, and it quite literally left me in a situation where I had a rucksack full of stuff, and I'm very fortunate that I never had to sleep on the streets. I'd always be either staying with friends or in a hotel for a night. But essentially, the life that I knew 6 months before of having money, having a good job, in a relationship, totally crumbled in one go. After I'd got to the point where everything had fallen down around me, I was going to the doctor because I had extreme anxiety at that point and depression as well at the same time. So I was put on some medication, I was getting a bit of help for that, but essentially I didn't know where to turn to. I didn't know who to turn to, I didn't really know who my friends were at the time, and with family living far away and there being broken relationships, wasn't really in a position where I had the confidence to turn to anybody. But the one thing that was always there was God knocking on the door, and I'm a bit of a stubborn guy at the best of times. I think people that know me well know that I can be a bit stubborn. But I think I knew that the whole time God was there just saying, when you're ready, I'm here and we'll work this out. So the turning point for me was when I turned up at a church in Bristol one Sunday. It was shortly after Christmas. And I just remember being on my knees, and somebody gave a prophetic word at the front of, they felt that there was somebody that felt like they were on a deserted island. They didn't know where they were, what they were doing, and that God wanted to call them home and take them away from that island. And I felt that that was for me. So I got the courage to stand up, go to the front, get some prayer. It was amazing. I got connected with somebody within the church. I was able to tell them my story, and then from there was a domino effect of things starting to fall into place. But the key for me was that night, God saying to me, he said, Barney, if you give everything up to me, I will give it back to you in abundance 10 times over. Absolutely everything. He would sort work out, home life, relationships. I knew that night he promised me that it would all be okay, but all I needed to do was just put my trust in him. So I did. Life now it's beautiful. It is wonderful, but it does still have its challenges. And I think with any traumatic time in your life, no matter how much the circumstances change, there are still residual effects of that, and I think I still deal with the odd anxiety here and there as well, and there's still things within that I'm trying to work on. But I think that for me, life today is about God fulfilling those promises. I'm in a job that's great, I'm doing well at. I'm in a nice home with some amazing people. I'm in a church that's just wonderful and has given me an opportunity to share my passions, particularly for worship. And I'm also getting married next year, which is just probably the best part of all of that. So that's just wonderful. But for me, it's those promises that God has kept that gives me the strength to go through those other battles, because I know that if I just stick with him and I keep on this journey, that those battles are going to be overcome as well. And it's just relationship with him and just staying close to him through those things. For me, there's a song that really summarizes the approach to take, I feel, in a situation like this. And the line from the song is, there's another in the fire standing next to me. There's another in the waters holding back the seas. And what that says to me is that Jesus literally just wants to stand with you. And it's not about standing on ceremony. It's not about having to have it all worked out and being okay. It's just about saying, hey, let's journey through this together and just see where it goes. It's just about relationship and connection, and that is it. Your relationship with God is your relationship with God.